Telencia is just as a research analyst, you must be able to make recommendation on anything you're basically analyzing, not just you spelling out or telling figures. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you very much. That's really profound. I could recall that Joy many times would tell us on the call that they don't have to read verbatim once you hear your view about these matters. And that's one thing that Calista has reiterated during that meeting. And yeah, thank you very much, Tomio, for that. And I think we just move to the next thing. We are going to discuss this afternoon, and that would be our policy document. So we realized that quite a number of us join the society, and maybe we are not aware of what is expected of us, and even for old members, right? And we are trying to ensure that everyone in the society understand what is expected of them and the rules that bind them. Obviously, you agree with me that a city without laws is a city without a sin, right? And we are trying to ensure that we bring about this policy and, of course, this rule and guideline just to ensure that we have individuals that are ethically sound and, of course, professionals in whatever division they, of course, or whatever line or path of career they choose to pursue, right? And that is why we are coming up with this. So just to ensure that we all are carried along and we understand what is expected of us as members, we have been able to come up with a policy document which will be briefly analyzed by the head of HR in just a few minutes. And yeah, we can ask questions and whatever we feel we are not clear about, we can ask when he's analyzing that. And
Sorry,
then,
please. I can't hear you.
okay, I think you might want to check your speaker because I'm speaking as loud as I was initially. So, yeah, can you, is it better now? Maybe it's my less. Can you guys hear me now? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So as I was saying, we are just trying to do this so that we would all be on the same page, and at the same time, we would have people that are ethically sound and abide with the guideline and rules of the society. So I think I'll just hand over to David here so that he can walk us through the policy document. And yeah, we can ask our questions after. And after that, we're also going to be having a session where the head of research will be walking us through our research process, more like a simulation of what she does whenever she's making research, especially as regard the sectors that we cover during our research course. And this is just to help us, especially our new members, to, of course, understand what is expected of us when we are asked to come and present to the society and to really streamline the process for. So I would want you guys to really pay attention in both sessions. And of course, listening, prepare your questions, and you can be sure you get them answered. So yeah, thank you very much. I will hand over to Abiola now. David, you can take over.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Good afternoon. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
All right, thank you so much. So, good afternoon, everyone. I've sent the policy document that I'm going to be discussing to each every division. I think I've been sending it to every division. So, if you don't have it yet, I think you should just check your division page to make it easier and so that you'll be able to follow through with everything I'm saying. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Abela David, and I'm the Director of Human Resources for the Investment Society University of Land. So, just to do a quick part. So, the reason why we are doing this is not so that it's not because we just want to be strict or because we don't have work. But the reason why we are doing this is because it's very, very much important for us to realize that accountability is very, very important. If you are going to grow in anything you are going to do, you need to be accountable to someone. And we don't want a situation whereby people will be in the society and then, oh, I've spent a semester, I've spent 2 semesters, and then there is nothing to show for it. That's the reason why we are doing this. So it's not just because we just want to be strict or we don't have a life or something. That's the reason why we are doing this. So uh let me just quickly run through the document. How many of us have seen the documents first before I have we seen the documents? All right. All right. All right. Thank you so much. So we have about 17 policies here covering different operational areas as a society. So our introduction is just from the president desk. I think I'll just he has already mentioned this at the beginning, so I think I'll just skip that and go ahead. So our mission and our vision and core values that we are uphold at CIS. So our mission is to develop, financially literate and professionally sound students through various hands-on training. Basically, what the mission is to, we found it's like in CIS, we found out that a lot of times what's being taught in class is not commensurate with industry. What you find, what is obtainable in the industry setting. So TIS came in as a platform to bridge that gap between what students are learning in class and then what we see in the industry, as the case may be. So, and then the vision is to be the leading university-based investment society in Africa, shaping future analysts, leaders, and innovators. And I mean, the evidence is there. We are quite on track to become that. And then our core values, we have professionalism, integrity, excellence, teamwork, accountability, which is one of the reasons why we are doing this. And then innovation also, we encourage people that are enterprising, people who are able to take initiative. So on to the scope and applicability of this policy document. Now, this policy document applies to all members. Now, all members, because I'm also a member, whether you are a director or you are we are all members, and this policy document applies to all of us. Then, all directors, all the all directors and all applicants during the recruitment process. And it also covers all our related activities. So its compliance is mandatory and it's very, very much important for us to follow this uh, document. So our membership policy, uh, eligibility, on eligibility, we don't discriminate from any department. So all enrolled students, matriculated students of the University of Ilorin are allowed to join TIS as long as they are dedicated to learning about finance, investment, and also business. And then as long as they are also willing to meet performance expectations and also attendance at TIS activities. So membership categories, we have the general members, we have the executives, and we have the alumni or advisory members, as the case may be. And then the rights of members. So as a member, you have the right to attend all approved sessions and trainings. You have the right to access society opportunities. And then you also have the right to be considered for internal roles, as the case may be. Uh, if as when due or when applicable, you have the right to be considered. Now, your responsibility as a member, you must maintain professionalism. And we've had situations whereby people just there's so much misconduct. So you must maintain professionalism with the highest standards. You must attend meetings and events, and also submit your tasks on time, and then uphold the society values, which I mentioned before: professionalism, integrity, accountability, teamwork, and all those things. And then also, um, on termination of membership. Now, a member may lose membership if they fail to attend 3 consecutive meetings without notice, or if they display any conduct that damages the society's image, or if they violate the code of conduct, or there is repeated non-performance. So these are grounds, some of the grounds on which a member can be terminated from the society. So I need to confirm, can we still hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
All right, thank
Yes,
you
sir.
so much. So for our recruitment and selection policy, we have, as many of you are aware already, we have the insight session, of which attendance was taken, and it was also part of what we used to grade you guys, especially for the new guys. And then we have the quiz assessment. So just go over it in your leisure time. We have the CV and cover letter submission, where these documents were graded. Were not subjective, so it was objective. In fact, a marking scheme was also created to this effect to ensure the objectivity of the process. So we did that, and we were able to grade using metrics such as formatting, clarity, motivation, relevance, your grammar, and etc. So we're able to use these things. And then we had a threshold also. So the last stage was the interview stage, where we also ask different questions, and the interview performance also determined those who eventually got into the society. So confidentiality is that recruitment data must be handled with discretion. So you won't find, for example, you won't find HR, just I handled a lot of data during the HR division, handled a lot of data during the recruitment process, and you won't find those things outside just anyhow, or in just anyhow kind of setting. So the data must be handled with care, because it involves it includes some personal details, like mails and phone numbers, and you want to ensure that these things don't get into the wrong hands. So it must be handled with care and utmost confidentiality. Now, on our divisional structure and responsibilities, I'll just gloss over this, because I mean there are many divisions. We have about like, we have global market division, we have global market operation, we have HR, we have investment banking, we have management consulting, and then we have research. So we have 6 divisions, and this division now structure and responsibility just talks about the structure. So whichever division you are in, for example, if you are in global markets, you are either the director, you are either the senior analyst, or you are either a junior analyst. So, and then there are expectations. There are things based on the activities of your division. There are things that you are expected to do, and there are KPIs. What I mean by KPIs are key performance indicators. These are metrics by which you will be assessed, probably on a monthly basis, or on per semester basis. So these are metrics upon which you will be assessed. So that's what I mean by the key. As basic level, that's what key performance indicators is. Just metrics to ensure that, okay, this person is progressing, this person is growing. So we have that. So it varies from uh, division to division. So just look for your division, read it, make sure you understand it, and then also uh, go through it very well, because these are the things that are going to be binding, and also just to ensure operational efficiency, and to make sure that we really get the best out of each and every one of us. I mean, even I, as HR director, I'm also binded by this document. So it's just to ensure operational efficiency, like I said some minutes ago, and just to also help us to be able to achieve our goals, our mission, and our vision as a society. So you can go right, you have the research divisions, you have your expectations, you have HRA, you have your expectations, also things that you are supposed, things that are expected of you, and the metrics upon which uh, you will be assessed. So I think in order to save time, I'll just gloss over it. So then for the next policy we have is the leadership roles and responsibilities. So the directors are responsible for leading the division. So once you go get into TIS, I'm sure you must have seen, director, we have the president, we have the director, we have the general secretary, we have the president, we have the vice president, we have the general secretary, we have the directors, and then we have in your division, depending on how your division is structured, you may have senior analysts, you may have junior analysts also. So depending on your division. So your directors are responsible for setting goals, and then your directors will also give you tasks from time to time, which you must do because these tasks are not just for fun. They are to ensure that you you are growing. The more you are able to do these tasks successfully and carry them out, the more you can be sure that you are gaining the skills, the requisite skills that are necessary for you to be job ready, for you to be industry ready, in quotes, if that is a thing. And also delegating responsibilities. So your directors are responsible for delegating responsibilities, and they also have the right to also monitor your performance. So if you are not doing well, you should not be strange to you if your director maybe sends you a message trying to find out what the problem is. He or she is only trying to do uh, the job that has been assigned to him or her. Then the president and the vice president oversees the entire society, ensure vision alignment, and also facilitates collaborations across the vision. So uh, subsequent meetings and subsequent times, you might find out that there might be collaborations among divisions, among people across divisions. So the president and vice president sees to that, and then they also represent the society externally. Society has different partnerships and these things, and sometimes we go for office visitations and all these things. And so the president and vice president also, alongside maybe some executive members, also represent the society externally. So now on our meeting and attendance policy, I think we are getting to the crux of the matter. So meetings are important. They are not just there, for fun or just because we want to while away time. So there are different categories of meetings that we may have as a society. We have our general meetings, and we have divisional meetings. We have our executive council meeting, which is for the directors. Then we can also have training sessions, just like the one we did on Saturday. So we also have these training sessions from time to time. And then we also have uh, project meetings. So project meetings, I think this one depends on your division. I'm not sure, but I noticed that global market guys are trying to work on something. So you have projects or tasks in quotes, as the case may be, for different divisions that you may fall into. So these meetings are also important, and you have to ensure that you are present. And then you have research calls, which holds every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So it is also very important, and attendance is compulsory for everyone. So I would say attendance is compulsory for general meetings, and you must join at least 80% of divisional meetings. And if for any reason you are going to be absent, it should be communicated before the meeting. So attendance is going to be taken serious. We're already working on that. And then also you have uh, attendance. Now it's going to be automated. So we are going to track everything to the last. So it is very, very important. This is just to ensure accountability. Like we are not just trying to say we're a society. Like I said at the beginning, we don't want a situation whereby you spent a semester or 2 semesters in TIS and you have nothing to show for it. I joined TIS, and in my first semester, I actually had a lot to show for it. I've participated in activities, in-house challenge, and stuff like that. Networked with people, made new friends, and did all those things in the process. So we don't want a situation whereby you just be a member of society and you just be whiling away time. No, or just for the prestige of being in TIS. Yeah, fine, TIS is prestigious, but you need to also double down and get your hands dirty, which is one of the reasons why attendance is compulsory. And there are appropriate sanctions. If you explain, if you don't attend 2 meetings, as far as HR is concerned, and there was no notification from your director that you are absent, you are going to be absent rather. So you get a warning. Uh, if there are 3 unexcused absences, you get suspended and you will issue the query from the HR division. It might not even be me that will issue you the query. So, I mean, and then also continued absenteeism might lead to termination of membership, like I was saying at the beginning. So it is very, very important for us to note that. And then code of conduct, members must speak respectfully to all. We must maintain proper ethics, avoid harassment, bullying, toxic behavior. And this one is very, very important. Please let's take note of it. There should be no form of harassment, or just toxic. Some people are just toxic. They are not able to work with people, which is one of the things that uh we are trying to change. So if you find out that you are someone that you don't know how to work well with people, you should please learn how to do that. And if you're having issues, of course, you can reach out to HR division. I will find something to do about it. So please, it's important for us to not to harass or just have toxic behavior. Some people are just so difficult to work with. If they are not, they will not communicate properly and all these things. So please, this is very, very important. And also upholding confidentiality of internal discussions. This is also very important. We also need to exhibit professionalism. Just be of good conduct, basically. We don't want the society's image to be put to be we don't want society to be defamed. The good conduct that society is known for, we want to maintain it and even increase the curve. So also avoid using first platforms for personal advertisements, for conflict or for gossiping or some things like that. If you have to, conflicts do arise, and it's something we fully understand as a division. So sometimes these things are unavoidable because we are all humans. I mean, even in the context of industry, these things happen, but just ensure you channel it properly to the right channels. So our communication policy, our WhatsApp, we have our WhatsApp official groups, we have the general group, we have the divisional groups, and then we also have divisional groups basically, and other groups as the need may arise, as long as it's related to TIS, also covers this. Then the email, there is the general email of the society, but there is the HR for all correspondence relating to HR. So if let's say you want to get permission for something, or you're having issues, or you have someone you want to report, you can always reach out to HR. That's tisunilearning.hr@gmail.com. tisunilearning.hr@gmail.com. So that's the official HR email that you can reach out to if you have any issues, or you want to report someone is not doing well, or you want to take permission or something like that. So that's the official HR mail, through which all correspondence is going to be attended to. So we also have Google Drive or Notion if you use it, and then we have our social media pages. So we have rules also. No, don't forward unrelated contents. Use formal language. Don't spam. And if you are going to raise an issue, or know the proper channel to raise the issue. Don't just confront people anyhow and do stuff. Reach out to your director. If you cannot reach out to, if your director is not answering, you reach out to HR. The door is always open. And then for our professional development policy, CIS will provide training sessions, which we are doing, as that's even clear. Then we have soft skill workshops. An example was what happened last week when the president took us on a session on networking. So we have these things, we have CV and career guidance. Then we also have guest sessions from industry professionals, like we did on Saturday. So then mock interview practice, these things and many more are things that forms part of our policy as professional as pertains to professional development. So as a member, you're expected to actively participate, demonstrate growth, and uh, complete your assigned tasks. Now, for performance evaluation, this is done monthly because we have something called analyst of the month that we always do. I think we are still going to bring it back in focus. So evaluation is going to be done for each division. So I'm just playing it out now. Analyst of the month. So each division will have an analyst of the month, and this person will be assessed usually based on attendance, how well they're able to complete their task, initiate teamwork, and even professional conduct, because it's not just about skills. They will also receive a performance plan because we care about you, and it's not just about, oh, you didn't do this. We are committed to seeing you grow, which is why you're also going to get a performance plan. Oh, what's the issue? This is how we're going to resolve it. And then there will be removal if there is no improvement. So for conflict resolution and disciplinary processes, I don't say that minor conflict to be handled within the division by your directors. But if it's a major one, then you can escalate it to HR. Then the unresolved issue, if it's still not been resolved, then it will be taken to the higher authorities. So the disciplinary process, of course, if let's say it's between two members now, two directors, we would investigate first, there'll be hearings from both, and then action will be taken. So whether it could be warning, it could be suspension, or thereabout. So I just to save time, I also wrote what qualifies, because it's not just enough to say, oh, this is a minor conflict, this is a major conflict. There is also a need to be able to clarify what a minor conflict or a major conflict is. So we have that, and then we have our event and project management policy. We have events from time to time. So I'll just gloss over this. Then we also have our financial and membership dues policy. So we have annual dues that we pay, which may be subject to change, but at least for now it's about 2,000, and it covers branded materials, guest sessions, and also the day-to-day operations of the society. Because the society spends money to organize these some of these things that we are benefiting from. So we also need to pay our dues. And on brand and media and publicity too. So only the publicity division approved by the director of PR will be able to design and also approve posters. And we don't want unauthorized use of the logo is prohibited, and also statements made externally. So we are trying to align our brand, because TIS is also a brand, and then we are trying to align our brand with the vision and mission of the society. So if you are going to if you are going to put out any publication content, it should be something that is professional and also aligned with the official messaging lingo of the society. So amendment and review process. So this policy shall be reviewed every academic session or when there are major structural changes, and then there is going to be feedback from directors and members. And approval must come from the president, the HR director, or the executive council. So, and these are the contributors to this policy statement. So, thank you so much for listening to my ramblings for the previous 30 minutes. So, I don't know if anybody has questions for me. If you have any questions, you can just unmute yourself and speak. Please ask your questions. Oh.
Okay, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, Aisha.
Okay, I want to ask a question about this document. Under the minor conflicts, number
Mm-hmm.
4, forgetting to what is supervisor. Next, not complete.
Okay. Mhm. Under the policy of conflict resolution, you're talking about conflict resolution, right?
Yeah, under the minor conflicts.
Okay, number
Oh,
forgetting to see, like for example, let's say you have uh maybe you are supposed to submit something to your supervisor, and then when you send, or maybe you want to take permission from HR, you are not just going to send the uh the reason for absenteeism to HR. You are also going to copy and send to your director in your division. So that CC means that you also copying and also making sure that your director gets the mail. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but maybe there will be a short video or something. Maybe I'll send a YouTube video on how to do that, so that we'll be able to know how to CC uh, the director. Do you
okay,
understand what
thank
I'm
you.
saying? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Any other question? So the official TI's mail has been sent to the official HR mail has been sent to the uh, group. Let's ensure we go over it. And does anybody else have any question before I? So all right. So I just want to reiterate: if you have any reason for being absent, write the mail, send it to your director. Also send it, copy HR, CCHR, let HR see it, and let HR be aware if you are going to be absent from any meeting. So it is also very important. I need to reiterate this, please. Ensure that you do that. It is not because we want to control you, but just to ensure accountability, and also ensure that we are preparing ourselves for industry practice. If you are working at a firm, you will not just come and say you are not going to go to work or something. You have to do all these processes. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to prepare you guys for the real world, both you guys and also myself inclusive too. And this is how it is being done. So please don't forget, if you are going to be absent from anything, send email to your director, but also CC copy HR, let HR also be aware. Thank you so much. I don't think there are any other questions. So, do we all understand what's in the document? Please, now is the time to ask questions. Okay. Thank you so much for listening to my ramblings. So, Mr. President, I don't know if he's online.
Yes.
Over to you.
Thank you very much, Abiola. So I believe that we'll listen then and we follow through with the document. Just to maybe give a very clear view of the divisional expectations. I believe that during our divisional meeting, directors walk us through what we are expected to do our KPIs, and maybe they've even done that before now. But I mean, we've seen it in documents, and we are willing and we are going to follow that document to the last anything, right? Because we don't want a case whereby people are going to They just do anything anyhow because they feel like they can, right? So that's what we'll be finding. Also, in case you have any question, anything at all, you can reach out to the HR for a clearer explanation or understanding of that document. Also, like you said, if I thought you're not going to be at any meeting, you should join. You should send a mail both to your director and copy the HR mail so that they will be aware of your absence. Because these are things that will determine your appraisal as a member of the society, and they are very much important. Trust me, they are very much important. So yeah, thank you very much, David, for that. And I think we can just move on to the next thing on our agenda, which is simulation for the research process, which is going to be anchored by Joy Oluwaleke. Please, you can go ahead, Joy. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. So basically, I'll be taking you through the research process, what we expect of you, and how you can even analyze the information that you come across during your research. So, okay, first off, I would want everybody to open the research schedule. So you can still be on the call and open the documents. So you'll be able to follow through and understand everything that we'll be saying. So yeah, one of the basic things, like one of the basic reasons for the research and all that we do is for commercial awareness, as we all know. Okay, let me do something. Before we go further, I just need one person to say how the research call has been and the sessions. How has it been for you? Just one person. Yeah, please don't let me start calling names. This is not research call. You can just, how has it been for you? Like your personal, just what you think about it.
Okay, hi Joy, and good
I,
afternoon, everybody. So,
yeah,
I've made intentional efforts to be in a few of the hosted research calls from last week until today, and for me, it's been well. I saw that we had some recorded lapses, and how that you know, Lola would always insist on us improving in our communication ethics and carrying the whole team along. So again, I'm new to quite a number of things that are going on in the society, but for me, it's been a very insightful opportunity to just catch up on quite a number of things and industry research and everything everybody is presenting from NGX and global markets. So personally, it's been
Yes.
insightful. It's spurred me to understand how reports are generated and simplified as well. So they are quite the calls I look forward to every other Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Yeah, thank
all right. Thank you so much, Victor. Thank you for um, telling us what you feel about the research call. All right, so I'll just get straight into it. So basically, the purpose of the research, the calls we have, and yeah, all of that, is for commercial awareness, right? Let's know what's happening. Let's understand what's happening, not just knowing, and yeah, how it can even impact us, and like we being able to even make forecast even to a reasonable extent. So okay, like I said, please open the research schedule. So just be getting straight into it. Um, as you are seeing, um, the research schedule has basically like 5 segments. We have the markets, the macro, commodities, fixed income, and currency. All right, let me resend the research schedule for those that probably do not have it. All right, while I'm at it, like I said, the major segments of the research goal, because we do all of this for all-roundedness. We cannot just be focusing on the stocks markets. We don't know what's happening. Okay, we cannot just focus on Nigeria stock markets. We don't know what's happening in the US, in the UK, and all of that. So just want to have a well-rounded knowledge of what's happening in the stock market, the commodities market, and yeah, even all other asset classes. All right, now, so I'll be breaking down those asset classes, right? Because I realized that some might not have a full understanding or even an idea on what these are. So first with the NGX. So yeah, with the NGX, I know you see NGX maybe before even TIS, you've seen NGX, NGX, NGX. So you might be asking what the NGX is. So the full meaning here is the Nigerian Exchange Group. And basically, NGX is a market where the Nigerian company stocks are traded. And I realized over time that it's not even just stocks, because when I was new to NGX, I thought, oh, just stocks. But yeah, bonds are also traded on the NGX, and ETF. There's something we call ETF. That's the exchange traded fund. And this just like ETF is like a collection, and yeah, a collection of different assets. So in an ETF, you can have stocks, bonds, commodities, but it's always traded as an individual stock. So you we understand that NGX now, stocks are traded, bonds are traded, and ETFs are traded. And I said ETF is a type of investment fund that it holds a collection of different asset classes, like the stocks, the bonds, or the commodities. And it is traded on the stock exchange, much like an individual stock. So that's that with the NGX. Because if you've noticed, if you've been on the research calls, you'd have been seeing people, like anytime you see green on their name, you would have been seeing them talking about the NGX, and you'll be hearing different things, different stock, you'll be hearing different names, and yeah, different companies' names. So that's what the NGX. Okay, before I go to the next market, you can see the color codes, right? So if it's green, that's NGX. If it's red, fixed income. If it's yellow, it's commodities. Purple, currencies. Blue, local macro. Gray, global macro. Purple, okay, lilac is currency, sorry. Then purple, the deep purple is UK and EU markets. This one that looks like gold is the US markets. Then the orange brown, I don't remember, it is the Asian markets. So yeah, so those color codes represent, I mean, different asset classes and different things that we have to present on, right? So now to the UK and the EU markets. When we hear UK, we know that, okay, UK and we hear markets, UK markets, EU markets. So this is quite broad because EU is a whole region on its own. That's the European region. And we merged it with the UK. Since it's most times side by side, I mean, UK is in the EU and yeah, all of that. So now, I don't know, for those that maybe might be curious and have gone to the news to check, because you know, there's one thing that you can be hearing all these things on Research Co, and you'll be more curious. I mean, you'll be more curious even to find out more about these things and to find out, okay, what are these people saying? Let me also learn, or let me just try to comprehend even on my own. So, right, there are so many indexes even under these different markets. Well, okay, I forgot to mention under the NGX, there are different indexes. You have the ASI. You'd have been seeing ASI. So ASI is all share index. So yeah, all the companies listed on the stock exchange are under this index. So index are just like how would I put it? So many. Okay, so if for a particular index, we have some companies under it. Sometimes we have, for ASI now, it's all companies that are under the ASI. So we have companies under these different indexes. So most times you just see that so index is up by clinical percent, another index is down by clinical percent. So under the NGX, we have the NGX ASI index, the NGX 30 index. This for the top largest 30 Nigerian stocks. We have the NGX 50 index for the largest 50 Nigerian stocks, and NGN banking index. These are just for the banking stocks where you have your access, you have your GT, you have your banks like that. And there are so many, honestly, there are so many other indexes even under the NGX. So now to the UK and EU markets, so many indexes also. And you know, like I said, this is quite broad because EU, European, that's because European, that's Germany, that's France, that's UK, and even so many of the other European countries. But we'll just try to streamline it because, I mean, it can be quite a lot, like talking about like all the countries. And we just try to focus on the big guys, even globally. So the indexes you'll be seeing even under the UK and EU, you'll be seeing something like the FTSE 100, and that's for the London. That's for London rather. That's the London Stock Exchange. Because I said it comprises of various countries. So I'll just be talking about key indexes even under this region. So now for the Germany, we have one of their major indexes, the DAX index. So this is listed even on the Frankfurt Stock Exchange. So Germany, Frankfurt, so it's listed on their stock exchange. And for France, we have the CAC 40 index. So it is on the French stock market. But mostly we focus on the FTSE 100 because that's the UK, the London Stock Exchange. Even most of the times that we do our research call, most of the companies that are mentioned are always under the FTSE 100 because those are the largest company stocks, even in London. So now to the US markets. The US. So yeah, their stock exchange, the New York Stock Exchange. And this is like one of the most popular, if not the popular. You will see a lot of S&P 500, you'll be seeing Dow Jones, you'll be seeing NASDAQ Composite, you'll be seeing NASDAQ 100. There are a lot of indexes actually, and I can't just exhaust it all, and that's why I would just encourage that even after this session, just go back, do your research, and you're going to stumble in a lot of things, but yeah, just take it in little by little. So now for the Dow Jones, I don't know, either you see Dow Jones or you see DJIA rather. So that's the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It's also an index, under the New York Stock Exchange, and it consists of the 30. It consists of the 30 most prominent companies that are listed. So, and we know that, of course, for a company to trade on the stock exchange, it has to be a public company. I'm sure that you should know that, private companies are not on the stock exchange. We have the NASDAQ Composites, and I don't know, but if NASDAQ, it's most of the companies other than NASDAQ are tailored to the IT sector, information technology sector. You'll be seeing all those tech guys, all those big tech companies under the NASDAQ. And for the S&P 500, so this consists of 500 most prominent companies, 500 companies that have the largest capitalization. And one thing with all these index, the number beside it will denote what it is. So you see S&P 500, it's 500 something. We'd see, for Dow Jones, just have to know that that's for 30. You see NGX for NGX 30, that those are 30 largest companies, even in the Nigerian Stock Exchange. So that's that on the US markets. Now to the Asian markets. When we hear Asia, of course, we are thinking China, we are thinking India, we are thinking Japan, we are thinking, those Asian countries, right? And even under this, and of course, China and like those three countries I mentioned, they are top countries, even globally, top countries in the global economy. So we have different indexes, even under the Asian markets. I'm just going to pick two. So we have the Japan 225. So like I said, these indexes, when you see the number, you know that, okay, these are 225 highly capitalized companies, even in Japan. So for Nifty 50, those, like I said, 50. So this Nifty 50, another index under the Asian markets. So it is made up of 50 largest Indian companies. So now we've exhausted the markets because if you can see from the schedule, and I want to emphasize, I know I've said this, but NGX is a market. Yeah, NGX is market. Because you not see market beside it does not mean it's not a market, right? So I've talked on NGS, I've talked on UK and EU, I've talked on US, and I've talked on Asian markets. So now to macro. When you get macro, personally, when I hear macro, I'm thinking economics, like when I hear macro. So macro generally deals with the economy as a whole, because you're not just looking at stock. We're not just looking at another thing. We're looking at the economy as a whole. Another macro, we examine factors like inflation, factors like GDP, factors like national income, economic growth, unemployment, the fiscal policies, monetary policies. So that's why I said when you're macro, you're talking about what impacts the economy as a whole, right? So if you're making the mistake of probably when you're scheduled for maybe local macro or global macro, and you're talking on stocks, you should know that macro you should know that macro is basically what impacts the economy as a whole, right? And I've listed some factors that you should watch out for. Of course, it's not, the list can be limitless. It's not exhausted to all that I mentioned, but yeah, you have the inflation, GDP, economic growth, national income, the monetary and the fiscal policies, right? And when you are local macro, when you get local, you should think, okay, local, what is local to us? That's Nigeria. So it should be what is happening. I mean, what are the things, what are the updates, what are the developments, even here in Nigeria, what's happening with our economy, what is, like, that should be what you're thinking when you are put on the local macro. So now, when you get global macro, right? Of course, globally, outside Nigeria. So that's what should come to your mind, right? And that's why, if you, okay, the research schedule, as you're seeing it, you would have been seeing different regions. Look at the glossary now. MEA, Middle East and Africa. NAM, North America. LATAM, Latin America. So, like I said, the purpose of this research, like, scheduling it into these different segments, these different classes, is just so that we have an all-round knowledge even on what's happening. So we cannot just be focusing on what's happening in Nigeria. We don't know what's happening even in the outside world. We don't know what's happening even globally, yeah, in global economy. So, and of course, global. The outside world is quite large. So we just try to section it as I just try to section it, right? Because Middle East and Africa, right, excluding Nigeria, because if you heard me before, you'd have heard that local macro, we're focusing on Nigeria. So when we're talking on Middle East and Africa, we should not talk on Nigeria, because, I mean, we've spoken on Nigeria before, right? So that's for things that are happening in that region, the Middle East and the African region. For North America, you have to check on, okay, what countries are in this region, what countries are in the North America region, and what is happening even with their economy. So Latin America also, what countries are in this region, what is happening with their economy, right? So like I said, we know what macro focuses on, right? The economy as a whole, and yeah, those factors that I listed. So now to the commodities. So commodities now, it deals with different raw materials, buying and selling, trading of materials, of metals, things like oil, gold, silver, agricultural products, and the likes. And the goal of this is so that investors can benefit from profits even in their price fluctuations, because yeah, commodity is something that we take every week, and you would have noticed that they'll tell you, someone will come and present and be like, gold increased from this to this, silver has declined because of so and so and all of that. Because yeah, there are price fluctuations, and of course, the goal of every investor is to profit. I don't know about you, but I mean, if I put my money somewhere, definitely I would want some profit on my investment. So you might think, maybe these things are okay, if you buy gold now, I don't know. But just for clarity, you might be thinking, if you buy gold now, does that mean that I will have the gold? Or if I buy silver, does it mean that I will have the silver and all of that? But no, that's not how it works. So yeah, basically trading the price of these commodities, not the physical like products, right? So you are not going to get, you're not going to hold, like let's say you are buying gold now, nobody's going to give you any gold. So you're trading the price, and yeah, that's that. So of course, we have different raw materials that we can trade, and there are actually even different platforms where we can trade commodities. In Nigeria, we have the Nigeria Commodity Exchange. We have Mercantile something. Yeah, all these things are available online, Sha, in case you are so curious about it, because there are different platforms where we can trade commodities. And okay, now, like I said, they are raw materials, right? So under the metal, we have gold, we have silver, we have copper, we have platinum. These are things that we can trade. These are things that are available for trading. For the energies, we have crude oil, we have natural gas, we have coal, so many of those. For the agricultural produce, we have soybeans, we have corn, we have wheat, we have palm oil, we have so many things, right? So yeah, that's that on commodities, trading raw materials, trading agricultural products, trading energies, trading metals, precious metals, and yeah, I think that are the commodities. So now I'll move to currencies. Currencies is, of course, there's one thing that always make headline in Nigeria. You will see Nairametrics now. You would have seen Naira drops to 1,000 and something per dollar. Naira drops to this. Naira has increased to this. Naira is so yeah. So this currency, right? It just helps us to know how a currency is faring, even in relation with another currency. So most times, of course, our gauge is always against the dollar, right? It's always naira to dollar, naira to dollar. The naira is strong compared to dollar in relation to dollar, relative to dollar. So you'll be seeing different things like that. But now our focus is not just on naira to dollar, right? So focus is going to be on different currency pairs, right? I'll be going straight into it. I'll be going into it in a bit. So yeah, but that's just the purpose of currencies and yeah. So now to the fixed income. I realize that fixed income has a lot of technical terms, I would say, because even looking at news and all of that, you would see a lot of you'll be seeing different things, OMO, you'll be seeing treasury bills, you'll be seeing different rates and all of that. So yeah, fixed income, when you hear fixed income is an asset class and year fixed year income. So this provides investors with a fixed stream of income, a predictable stream of income. You year fixed, right? So in fixed income, there's always principal and there is interest, right? So the fixed stream of income that I was mentioning is through the interest rates because there's always interest rates payments and the repayment of principal. So okay, let me use an example bond. So on bond, let's say the rates or the interest rate is maybe 5%. So let's say you buy a bond, right? Somebody issued a bond and you buy it. So that means, and let's say it's 5%. So how much? Let me say 50,000 naira, right? So now, when you buy the bond, so a person that issued it needs money. You are buying it because you want to invest, and of course, you have a profit, or interest that will be paid to you. Because I mean, it cannot just be paid to you at the face value. There has to be interest, right? So that interest is going to be paid periodically, fixed. That's why fixed, emphasis on fixed. Then at a later date, at a future date, the principal is going to be repaid. So now, another term we are going to be looking at under fixed income is money markets. So money markets is where short-term securities are traded. Money markets is where highly liquid securities are traded. And it's always for a short period of time, right? I said short-term securities. So you're looking at 1 year, you're looking at less than 1 year, maximum 1 year. So you're looking at 1 year or less, right? So examples, you have treasury bills, you have commercial paper. So treasury bills they are bills that are issued by the government. Like, okay, we're in Nigeria, I'll use our federal government, right? So treasury bills are issued by our federal government and Central Bank of Nigeria at low risk. So compared to probably other bonds or other securities, even under the money markets, this is relatively a low risk investment, I would say, because it is backed by the government of the country. So it's low risk. And of course, we know that the higher the risk, the higher the return, the lower the risk, the lower the return. So it might not be so, what word will I use? So profitable, for lack of a better word, than even other investments. And the commercial paper is also a short term because we are looking at money markets. So this is also a short term and it is issued, it's a corporate debt, right? Issued by a company and it is backed by the issuing company's credits. Because we are looking at commercial paper now. I said it's issued by a company, right? So, of course, there's still a risk of defaults when it comes to company than when it comes to the government. So the risk of investing in commercial paper is higher than the risk in investing in treasury bill. So of course, the return will also be higher, right? So that's how it works. Okay, so another term I would be explaining is the system liquidity. So when we hear system liquidity, what should come to our mind? So system liquidity is the amount available in the banking system okay, how much is available, how much is on ground, like how much. So that we are looking at. And this includes the cash that are held by banks, the cash that are held by other financial institutions. And this cash is one that can be used for lending or can be used for transaction, whatever transactions that you might think of, basically. So now, what cash is available? What cash is available? Like how much is available for us, like for the banks to lend? How much is available in the banking system? So that's what we are looking at, right? When we hear system liquidity, and system liquidity affects a lot of things, even in the banking sector, in the economy at large. So it's something that we should pay attention to and maybe even do our research more on it, because I'm just trying to, give an overview of everything. But of course, if you want deeper, like there are sometimes that you research something by yourself and you understand it so much better, right? But yeah, and like I said, this system liquidity affects a lot of things. It affects the availability of loans, right? So, I said system liquidity, the amount of money available in the banking system. And this money is what is always available for loans. I mean, if citizens, people go to the bank for loan, if there's no money available, there cannot be any loan, right? So this system liquidity affects loan availability. It even affects government borrowing. It affects interest rates and so many other things. So now, basically, how liquidity is decreased, right? So when banks receive money, I know bank can receive money maybe through deposits. When we go to the bank and make deposits, so it's kind of increasing their cash, all other things being equal, right? So when banks receive money, maybe through customer deposits, maybe if there's an inflow from CBN into the bank or any other factor, it increases the liquidity and it increases the amount that's available even in the banking system. So that's just what liquidity is. So now, repo and overnight rates. So repo is like a repurchase agreement. So repo rates, I'll pick repo rates first. This is I would say the interest rates at which central bank lends money to commercial bank, because we all know that there are times that central bank would have to lend money even to our commercial banks, our GT, our Zenith, and the likes. So there are times when they will go to central bank and ask for money, right? And this happens when there is shortage of funds, or yeah, most likely shortage of funds, because why would I go and borrow if there's shortage of funds, right? So it's when there is shortage of funds and they need more money, so they'll go to the central bank and they'll get more money. And you can also see repo rates as the rates at which the bank borrow money from the CBN, and it's always for short-term needs, and it's always short-term. I think I saw that the max is for like 7 days, so 1 to 7 days. It's not for a long time. You have to repay my money, that kind of thing. So I'm just paint a picture of how this repo transaction works. So, okay, Zenith Bank needs cash. I don't know why I'm using Zenith Bank, but they need cash, right? So they sell, okay, let's say they need 10 million naira cash. They sell securities of that amount to the CBN, that 10 million naira. Then the CBN gives them cash. The CBN will not just give them cash because they said they need cash. There has to be something, right, of that amount, worth that amount. So after a few days, like I said, 1 to 7 days, short term. After a few days, the bank will buy back whatever the security was, if it's a bond or something, at a higher price. So it cannot just be that in the same 10 million that they sold it to the CBN, that it should not buy it back. So it has to be at the higher price. So the difference between the first price and the second price is now the interest. Let me take it again. So, right, bank, okay, let me use GT this time around. GT banks need cash. Okay, they need cash, maybe, they're short on cash. So they will sell, and they need 10 million. Okay, it's 5 million. They need 5 million naira. So they will sell a bond to the central bank, 5 million naira worth of that, worth of 5 million naira worth bond worth, yeah, to the CBN. So the CBN will give them cash, just like you want to buy something. You cannot just, you have to give them money, you have to give them something. Like there's always an exchange, right? So this is the exchange we're talking about, like in relation to banks and the central bank. So the CBN will give cash. Then after a few days, the bank will buy that bond that is sold to CBN back. And when CBN wants to sell it back to the bank, it cannot be that 5 million. Maybe it's 5.5 million, maybe it's 6 million, but it has to be higher, right? And the difference is now the interest. That's the repo interest, the difference between the two prices, right? Because I mean, you know, we do in the business world, there's always a gain, there's always a gain, right? So now to overnight rates. Overnight rates is the interest rate at which commercial banks lend to each other. And yeah, overnight, from the word overnight, would have deduced that it's also for a short term. Literally, even overnight. So yeah, so it happens, maybe they are short on cash for the day, like let's say, okay, still in the working hours, then they say, they realize that they needed more cash. So that's when you now, it's an exchange between the commercial bank. Commercial bank will not lend, like fellow commercial bank. Let's say GT and Access. GT needs cash just for that day. So to reach out to Access Bank and however the transaction would happen between them. Well, what we just need to understand is the interest rate at which commercial banks lend to each other for very short-term needs. And the CBN, now I've explained what the repo rate means. I know repo, it involves the CBN, right? This overnight now just between commercial banks. So it uses the repo rate to even influence these overnight rates because there's always a rate, right? It's not just, they cannot just wake up and call a rate. There's always like a standard rate, right? And the CBN uses that repo rate that I explained earlier, even to influence and to fix the overnight rates. Okay, so I think I mentioned treasury bills earlier, but just to give maybe be more clearer with it. So when we hear treasury bills, what do we? I mean, because at some times of the month, Nairametrics, I don't know, I like using Nairametrics, will carry news and they'll be like, there was so and so amount of treasury bills were, or maybe large demand of treasury bills for this month, and yeah, all of that. So yeah, for treasury bills are short-term loans and they are issued by the government. Okay, so treasury bills are always paid back with interest. And like I said earlier, it's one of the safest investments because this is backed by the government of a country. It is backed by the federal government of Nigeria. So the risk of defaults is zero or very low, right? Very low, extremely low, like one of the safest. So it's a short term, it is traded in the money market. And we have maturity period. There are some that, okay, 91 days, there are some of 182 days, and there are some of 364 days, 1 year, right? You know, I said the money markets, securities of 1 year or less that are traded. So now, the way it works is, okay, let's say you want to invest in a 1 year treasury bill, and it is worth, let me say, 100,000 naira. So if the yield, let's say the yield on the treasury bill is 10%, what you will pay, okay, let me just explain this. If you're investing in a treasury bill, that means you're going to provide money to them, or in a bond or in a loan or any of those, they're going to provide money. The person that is issuing the security, the person that is issuing this loan, the person that is issuing this bond needs money. So the fact that you hear issue, like if you hear that somebody is issuing commercial paper or a company is issuing, like when it comes to loan, when it comes to debts and all of that, that means they need the money, right? So you now, like I was saying, you want to invest in a 1 year treasury bill and the amount is around 100,000 naira. So if the yield is 10%, that means, of course, it's not the 100,000 naira you pay. You pay like 90K because, 10%. So you pay 90,000 today. So after 1 year, government will now return 100,000. Do you understand? It's a treasury bill worth 100K. So the yield is currently 10%. It's a 10% treasury bill. So when you want to pay now, you pay 90,000 naira. Then after 1 year, the government will give 100,000 naira. So like that, you already have a return of investment of 10,000 naira. You have a profit of 10,000 naira. So treasury bill, when it comes to treasury bill, you don't receive monthly interest. it is issued at a discount. So you give them the money at a discount. So, but when it's time for them to pay, they pay it in full. They pay it at once at maturity. I hope you get it. Okay, so now I'm going to be explaining the OMO. OMO auction, OMO, we've seen OMO, OMO, OMO. So that's the open market operation. It is one of the policies that the CBN use even to manage the economy, right? Because I mean the economy is a very big thing to manage. So when the CBN, when they buy, because they can buy or they can sell security, and this just so that they will control the amount of money that is even in the system, that is in the economy, right? So the OMO is used to reduce liquidity and it's also used to increase liquidity, as the case may be. There's not just a constant, it's not just constant of like OMO is strictly used to reduce liquidity. I mean, it goes either ways. Either used to reduce liquidity or it's used to increase liquidity. So if it wants to reduce liquidity, that means it wants to reduce, I remember how I define liquidity, right? That means it wants to reduce the amount of money in circulation. So I know when there's too much money in the economy, that is like inflation, right? So if it wants to fight inflation, if it wants to reduce the amount of money in circulation, it's OMO is used. So it sells securities. So it can issue an OMO bill, right? I think it's similar to the T-bills, treasury bills. So it wants to fight inflation, right? It wants to reduce money. I know when it issues this bill, when it issues the security, it is like, like I said, if when it comes to bond, when it comes to loan, like all these fixed income items, when they are issuing, that means they want money. So it just like when they issue these things, then the citizens, or they will buy this thing. And when they are buying it, that means they are giving out money. They are giving the central bank money. They're giving central bank money. So, look at it. They are giving out money. So it's kind of reducing the money in circulation, right? It's kind of reducing the money that is available, like in the economy. So that's what it does. If the plan is to reduce the amounts of money circulation, and of course, I said as inflation, it sells securities, and that way we'll start seeing OMO auction, we'll start seeing OMO auction and the likes of those. So like I said, this is two ways. So either they're reducing liquidity or they're increasing liquidity. So if they're increasing liquidity, that means they're trying to inject money into the economy. They're trying to inject money, right? So now they'll buy back securities. So we can see how this is used even to control, this is used even in controlling the amount of money in the economy. So this buyback can work because it can just be like, okay, the government, they want to buy back so and so billion of the security. Then there'll be so many investors that will submit offers. Then after, they will just pick the most favorable to them. So this is going to determine the buyback price and all of that. So there's a whole lot that goes into buying back securities, but it's just like for you to understand the basics. Okay, but just some clarity. When it comes to open market operation, that's the CBN. But when it comes to the treasury bills, that's the government through the DMO. So DMO is Debt Management Office, I think. Yeah, it should be office. Okay, so now I'm going to be explaining the FGN bonds. So they are medium, long-term debt securities. So they are issued by the federal government of Nigeria, right? So, and under these bonds, interest is paid as fixed coupon. So there's a fixed interest rate, whatever the amount or whatever the interest rate to be, it's fixed. So the purpose of them issuing this bond can just be to maybe they want to fund a government project or one infrastructural project or something like that. So they just issue bond, right? So also I'll be explaining the Eurobond. So Eurobond is a bond that is issued by a country but in a foreign currency. So now Nigeria is issuing an euro bond. The euro bond will not be in naira, right? It's going to be in a different currency outside naira. It's not going to be, so that's euro bond. So it can be like Nigeria is issuing a $500 million euro bond at 7% rate, at 7% coupon rate, right? So it is denominated in a different currency, and the purpose can be to probably they want to raise foreign currency, or yeah, I think that's always the main purpose. So I think I've been able to explain even all these items, all these different names. I mean, it may be new to every one of us, but just to give us clarity, just an overview of all of this. And yeah, before I pause for questions, any questions that we might have, just want to tell us, I mean, to encourage us to try and get familiar with these different things. I mean, there are so many things. If you go online now and you type anything, you see different sources, different sites. Because I mean, the way you just look at it as the way games are. Let's say you stumble on a game on your phone and you've not played it before. We are going to, of course, when it's new, probably might not be getting it, but after so many tries, we found our way around it. We found ways to win and all of that. So let's just apply that even in research. Let's apply that even in, yeah, doing our research and even when you come across new stuff, right? And that's why, I mean, AI has made life easier for us. You can just come across something and you might not know the meaning. Just type it. I do this a lot. Break it down for me. I tell ChatGPT to break it down for me. So when it breaks it down, it's something that I read, I understand. I'm like, oh, so this is it, right? So you can just come at me. I'm reading something, scrolling. Just tell it to break it down for you, right? So and it will do justice to that. Even if it's brings back a response that is still kind of difficult. Like break it down again. I don't still understand. I mean, it's just it's something that I do a lot, right? Okay, so now I think I'm going to pause now for questions. So if you have any questions, please raise your hand. I mean, of all that I've said so far, please raise your hand. Okay, Timlane. Timlane, raise your hand. Was that a mistake? Maybe. Okay, I don't know. Okay, Ayomide.
Yeah, thank you very much for that wonderful question. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you clearly. Your voice is faint.
Is it better now? Can you hear me?
Yes, it's much better.
Okay. Thank you very much for that wonderful session. I learned a lot. My question is that I don't understand that open market operations part. You said that the government uses it to that is similar to treasury bills, and the government uses it to like reduce inflation when there is too much money in the economy. I don't understand what you mean by that. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Ayo. Okay, I'll just be explaining it better. So, like, there are times when there's too much money in this economy, too much money circulation, and there are times where the money that's maybe they do an evaluation and the money is not so much, and they need to inject more money into the economy. So now, and yeah, the central bank that is in charge of this OMO is one of those policies, right, that the central bank adopts. So this OMO is just to manage money supply and inflation. So okay, let's say that there is sorry, all right. Now, if there is too much money in circulation, of course, the government should try to bring up policies even to reduce the money, because when there's too much money, there is inflation, right? And what it does is to kind of remove money from the economy. And it can do this by there's okay, maybe it wants to sell the security even to the citizens, even to the people of the economy. So there is the security that it sells, and when it sells, when it's selling security, people will buy it. I mean, when you're selling something, people will buy it. So now I'm trying to break this down. So when it sells security, just like issuing, right? People will buy it and they will put their money in it. So just like I explained treasury bills, if the government, or yeah, if the government issues treasury bills, they people buy it, right? Depending on different maturity periods. So they will buy this bill, and when they buy, they are putting their money in it. Like the instance I gave about treasury bill, that's when you want to buy it, although you pay it at a discount, you pay 90K. So money is leaving the economy, like money is leaving circulation. I don't know if you get it, but money is going out because they are buying that security, they are buying that bill. So that's how it also works. They'll put out a security, OMO bill, come and buy. So people will buy, investors will buy. So money is reducing in that sense. So same with if they want to inject money, right? They will not buy, putting out money even into the economy, increasing the cash reserves, and this also increase the reserves that the commercial bank has. So they will buy the securities, you can buy it from commercial banks or any of all those institutions, right? And when you're buying something, you're putting money down. So that's just how it works. That's just like the surface. Of course, um so many things go even into all of this. But then like that's just the basic understanding. I don't know if it's clearer.
Yeah, it is. I get it better now. Thank you very much.
I didn't get you, Ayo. It was faint again.
Okay, yeah, I said I guess it's better now. I understand better now. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, Barakat.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. And thanks for the wonderful presentation. It was really insightful. So, when you were during the presentation, you talk about the public company and that they are always the one on the stock exchange market. Actually, I want to ask if you can please explain more on public company and why they are the only one on the stock exchange market.
All right, thank you. So yeah, every company, you're either there's a public company or there's a private company. So public companies are companies that they can sell its shares to general public on the stock exchange. So of course, all those companies that we see, I don't know if you have been able to play around the website of NGX. So you'll be seeing different stocks, different companies. So those companies are public companies because I mean, something that you can buy their shares. You can actually be a shareholder in any of these companies, right? Even with 1,000 naira, you can be a shareholder, right? So these are companies that they sell the shares. These are companies that they have so many shareholders, and of course, so many minor shareholders. Of course, they will have their major shareholders, but then lots of shareholders. These are companies that they are bound by different rules, right? Because there are so many regulatory policies, different rules, even regarding public companies. There are companies that they must follow strict rules for transparency, for reporting, for governance, I mean, any of this. Okay, NGX, I don't know if you are seeing the screen. All right, that's NGX website. A lot of stocks are on the website. So public, I mean, if it's a private company, you cannot buy their shares. It's a private company, nobody really cares that much. And yeah, for a public company, it must file its reports, all those things. It must be audited, and yeah, so many rules and regulations. So some people, those some private companies, they might be like, they don't want so many people, so many owners, right, of their company. They just want to be, they want to be like their own, their, how would I put it now? Because for public company now, they have a lot of shareholders, a lot of people that own their shares. But public company might not want that kind of. They might want how am I forgetting this word? Just to be doing their thing, right? Just be doing their thing. Because if they're public, like I said, so many people are literally on your neck. Because I mean, for somebody to buy your stock, they have to be sure that okay, this is fair, this is transparent, this is this and this is that. So they are subject to so many regulations. And so public company is a company that its shares are traded on the stock exchange. And this company can be owned by the general public. Right. I don't know if I totally explained your question. If not, you can just react.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, Tim Lane.
Yeah. Good evening, house. Please can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry. You talked about fixed income the other time. I didn't really. The network was kind of breaking, so I didn't really get that part on fixed income. Can you please explain that part again, please?
All right, no problem. So fixed income is, I mean, we have our stocks, we have all of those. So fixed income is also an asset class, right? And this is something that provides investors with a predictable income stream. So the way it works, there are interest rates and there's principal. I don't know if you're familiar with the idea of principal and interest rates. So that's just what
I
fixed income is.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
So yeah, that's just what fixed income is. There are incomes and there's also principal that will be repaid at a future date. But yeah, they are periodical income payments, interest payments rather, and there's also principal that will be paid at a future date. Right. So yeah, that's just what fixed income is.
Thank you.
Okay, Aisha.
Okay, good evening. I wanted to ask about this overnight rates. I don't understand it. Can you hear me?
All right, yes, I can hear you. So overnight rates, that's the rates at which banks lend money to each other. And like the word says, overnight. So we are looking at a very short term period. It's even overnight, like for just one night, right? So as the name, overnight rates. So but then it involves like different banks, commercial banks. Let's say Zenith is lending to GT is lending to Access and all of that. So just the rate at which these banks lend money to each other. And maybe they just need cash for that day, like just need to sort out something or whatever the issue is, right? So that's just the rate at which the banks lend money to each other.
Okay, does it have a maximum date, like maximum date for the payments?
Yeah, I think it's just like I said, if they lend today, they just have to repay tomorrow. I mean, they know these banks know. I know how banks, so many regulatory policies and all of that. So because it's just something that they lend to for one night, basically. So just, I mean, yesterday, today, tomorrow, that kind of thing. Okay, Abdul Malik Bello.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, thank you for the insightful session. My question is about the FMDQ. Is there any difference between the FMDQ and the Nigeria Stock Exchange? And are they two different markets?
All right, thank you very much. So FMDQ is, I think full meaning is financial markets, last quotation, right? So the purpose of FMDQ is liquidity. They trade financial instruments, right? They trade financial instruments like the T-bills. If I say T-bills, please, it's treasury bills, the bond, money market instruments, foreign exchange, and all of that, right? But yeah, there is a difference. There are differences. The FMDQ now, I think it focuses on money market, focuses on bond markets. Yeah, it focuses on money market, debt markets, bond markets, and all of that. Because I said it deals with treasury bills, it deals with FGN, it deals with corporate bond. But when you're talking on NGX now, NGX focuses on stocks, NGX focuses on equities, right? And other markets. I also mentioned what ETFs are. So yeah, that's for NGX. So there is difference. I mean, a whole large difference. Their market type, what they trade, their instruments that are traded, and yes, all of that. So yeah, I think those are the key differences between FMDQ and NGX.
All right, man. So based on your explanation, so I can say FMDQ is for the money markets, while the NGX is for the capital markets.
Well, I think I would just like to streamline it debt and equity. That way, debt market. So FMDQ, you're looking at bond markets, debt markets, and NGX, equities, stocks. So that's just like the best way to differentiate the two.
All right, thank you.
All right, I don't know. I'm sitting two hands up. Do you have more questions or you forgot to put down your hands?
Yes, ma'am. Before you explain overnight rates, you explain the concept. Like I didn't get it. Like I wrote it down, but I didn't write the heading. Can't you start?
Oh, that's repo rates, REPO. That's repo rates. And this one's between the commercial banks and the central bank. It's also a lending, like the rate at which the central bank lends money to commercial banks, and also the rate at which the commercial banks borrow money from the CBN, right? So repo, I think it's short form for repurchase rates, but most people just go with repo, REPO, repo rates, repo rates, repo rates. So yeah, I think yeah, that's that. Timlane, do you have another question?
Good evening. Actually, there are two Timmy on the call, actually. So my question actually it's more or less of like a confirmation where you talk about repo rate and what is it called overnight rate. So I'm actually more focused on about the repo rate. So I want to confirm if based on your explanation about repo rate, I want to confirm if repo rate is same thing as SLF.
Same thing as what? I didn't get you.
Same thing as SLF, that is standing lending facility.
Okay, so I feel they are related, right? But they are not exactly the same. So now, like I already explained repo rates, banks borrowing short-term money and all of that. But now SLF is like a last resort kind of thing where you're lending and you're borrowing from the CBN. So in this case, the rates of the SLF is always higher than the repo rates, right? It's always higher. And that's just to make these people, because of course, before going to the CBN should be like your last resort, right? Before going to the CBN, you should have probably gone to the commercial banks first. Make use of interbank markets, right? So SLF is just a facility that provides kind of emergency, okay, last resort, CBN, let me go to CBN, final person, that kind of thing. So, and of course, the rate is higher than even commercial banks, the rate is higher than repo rates. So yeah, I don't know. I think I've been able to answer that. So repo rate has a lower rate than the SLF. And SLF is actually used at last resort. I don't have any other option. I have to come to the CBN. So that's that.
So sorry. That means under CBN facility, there's a section for repo with and there's section for SLF. If I get you right, right?
Yes, yes, because repo, I mean, there's always a security, right? Like I explained, I was explaining repo, that there's always a security in exchange. Let's say, I don't know, I think I said 5 million naira bond or something. Then they'll give something as collateral. There's always an exchange that takes place, right? So there's always a place for repo, I mean, collateral is involved, and a place for the SLF.
Okay. Thank you so much for the clarification.
Okay, in the chat, I'm saying that is the local market limited to Nigeria alone or African countries because you indicated, okay, yeah, I'm still getting to that, right? I don't want to take questions regarding all that I've said so far. Okay, so now I believe we still have the schedule in front of us because we still have some things down the schedule, right? So now, the first thing, if you look at, 1 second, please. If we look at the presentation guide, the presentation structure guide, we are seeing different things: markets, macro, commodities, fixed income, and currencies. So markets, these are what we expect, right? Though even these things that I would explain, in as much as what we are saying should not, I mean, this is not like a, how would I put it? Of course, these are things we should follow, but then it's not limited to this. Yes, that's the right word. It's not limited to this because I mean, there are sometimes I just want to introduce the concept even before going deeper and all of that. But I mean, this structure is just so that I mean, people will be guided and there will be like a structure, right? So when you are talking about the markets, you should tell us two top gainers and two top losers. And you can see in the brackets, ensure both are among the top 5 gainers or losers. Because I know that NGX does weekly reports, right? They do this report and they list the 10. I think is it 10 or even more than 10? I think they list more than 5 top gainers and top losers. But we are saying that the top gainer that you are presenting to us and the top loser should be among the top five, right? And yes, because what we're expecting of you, right? I mean, okay, NCR, we know how NCR has been on the rise. Okay, so you're telling us, you come to tell us that, okay, NCR stock price increased from 14 naira to 15 naira, that kind of thing. And this is something that we can see anyway. I mean, I can just be scrolling and I'll just Google bring it out, the NCR. But I mean, I need to know why. I want to know why. So these are where drivers come in. What is driving that, right? So even beyond telling us the figures, because I mean, I'm telling you, figures sometimes can be so, when somebody is presenting to you and all you're hearing is figures, 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 it can be so distracting. It can be kind of hard to follow. But we want to know the drivers. I mean, why, why? Because these are questions that are very important. What have you seen? Why do you think, based on your research, why? Right? That's what we're looking at. Because in all of our presentations, I mean on every single thing we are presenting on, there must be a lot of whys. There will be a lot of whys. And our purpose is just to, I mean, tell us why. Because that's why we're on the call, right? That's why it's research, not just newscasting or something. That's why, because let me go on. So macro. So this macro here is global macro, right? Because I already established the fact that local macro is just for Nigeria, because local is just for Nigeria. But when you see macro, 3 countries in the region, so that's for the global macro, right? Like I said, that we section this thing, MEA, Middle East and Africa, North America, Latin America, and there are so many countries in this region. Trust me, a lot of countries. But we just streamlined it to 3 countries in the region. So if you are let's say, okay, who is taking this Wednesday zone? Dotun is taking Latin America this evening. So what we're expecting from him is to come and analyze 3 countries in the Latin American region. And I explain what macro is, right? It affects the economy as a whole. You're looking at updates, you're looking at development that affects the whole economy, that is impacting the whole economy, not just restricted to a company, not just limited to an asset class, right? That is affecting the whole company. So what we're expecting is that it's coming to tell us maybe, I don't know if GDP is talking about or if it's interest rates, and tell us why. It's because there are a lot of whys that happen. Why do you think inflation has dropped from this so and so to so and so? Why, right? And it's very important. At least it's also good. I mean, if even after telling us all this why, you tell us what you think would happen. Because I know that the session we had with Calista on Saturday, she taught us how even we can predict, right? And of course, even all these predictions, even as we see online, you will see that analysts are expecting this, especially when it's a rate cut, when it has to do all those rates. You will see analysts are expecting this, analysts are expecting that. I mean, everybody has expectations. Everybody has expectations, everybody has predictions, right? That doesn't mean it has to, but you have to just give us reasons why you think so and so will happen. But just it happens, I mean, literally everywhere in the finance world, where you give us predictions. That doesn't mean, I mean, there is no true answer, there's no correct answer, right? You just have to give us basis why you think so. And I mean, justify your reason, basically. That's just what we are looking out for. So commodities. When you are presenting on commodities, you have to touch on 2 precious metal, 2 energies, and 1 agricultural produce. So these 3 things, these 3 components, should I call them components? But these 3 components. So precious metal, I mean, I think I listed it during the commodity presentation. We have gold, we have silver, we have copper and the likes. I mean, if you go online now, search for commodities, metals that are traded, you will see quite a number, right? So I just don't want us to limit everything that we should know, even to what I'm saying now, because there's still a lot to know, right? Even myself, there's still a lot for me to know. So now, energies. We are looking at the crude oil, because you have to speak on 2 energies also. Crude oil, you're looking at coal, natural gas. I'm very sure you'd have been seeing Brent, crude oil, Brent. I don't know if you're familiar with news, you'd have seen Brent, all this kind of information, right? So agricultural produce, we have oil palm oil, wheat, corn, soybeans. And I mean, if you are consistent with the research call, you'd have been listening to people even come to give analysis even on these items, right? So now, I mean, you're not just come to tell us the history of gold. I mean, we all know. So you're going to tell us what has happened. I mean, even in the price of gold, what is happening? What has happened, right? And why? If gold has declined, why? If silver is rising, why? Right? And also, it's very good to also add, if you think maybe in the coming week, in the coming weeks, in the coming month, before the end of this year, by the end of this year, what you think gold will be. Because even online, if you go to this site, you'll see different analysts with their prediction of what they think the value of gold will be by the end of the year, right? And there are reasons. Because can you just come and tell us something and you expect us to, okay, and you don't give us reasons, right? So now fixed income. I think I've explained all the items here. So you're basically coming to tell us what is happening in the fixed income. I mean, what has the CBN done even regarding this? How much treasury bill? You're just going to tell us. And this fixed income can be tricky because I mean, you could get a lot of figures. There are a lot of figures that could be there, but then just the way you interpret it, the way you pass it on to us, right? The way you explain it to us. That's why I always emphasize that there's a way you speak and you want people to follow you, and there's a way you speak also that people cannot follow you. Or even if there are times that, of course, I have to pay attention to everybody's research when you come on call, but then it's really difficult for me to follow. But then I have to follow. But it's really difficult. And there are some that just come and present and I mean, but yeah, I feel presentation skill is something that can be learned. Yeah, even myself, when I first started, I was terrible, I would say, because I mean, we learn every day. Trust me, after every presentation, you've learned something. You've learned something. I mean, that's our joy here, that everybody improves, that everybody grows their skill, their presentation skill, their communication skill. Even if the growth is not all that big, like after your presentation, but then the fact that if there were feedback, you took the feedback, you applied it even to your future presentations and all of that. Like it tells a lot. And like I think I've even noticed for those that have presented twice, even on the research call, I've seen some level of improvement, right? Even in the way they present. So now currencies. Okay, yeah. I remember when I was talking about currencies, I was like, okay, the way the currency performs, even in relations on that currency. So of course, I know most times we focus on the naira to the dollar, but then there is more. There is more. Even these four ones, you just okay. So we have the pound to the dollar, we have the euros to the dollar, we have dollar to the yen, Japanese yen, and dollar to naira. So I mean, there are different currency pairs that we should take note of. And even when you're coming, you tell us why. Like I've been emphasizing why. Even if you tell us that, oh, dollar to naira raised from 1.5 to 1.6. Okay, why? What have you seen? Why do you think it's rising? Those kind of questions, right? So that is very important, even in our analysis. So you have to tell us why. What do you think? I mean, because there are some times that you make your research, all of a sudden you'll be like, I don't know, you just think you would have some, you'll be like, okay, especially if you are really diligent in making research, right? Yeah, sorry for the short break. So, right, you have some expectations when you read some news, when you go through some things, you'll be like, okay, so this might happen. Because you know, there are some times that somebody will come and talk to us and be like, watch out for when is this rate cut by the Fed? Watch out for something, because all those things affect even our presentation and affect our analysis. So now, um, so yeah, just expectation generally, right? I already listed out the expectations, even relating to the structure of our presentations. So, but generally, like let's present like we want people to follow us. Because if you are reading, I always say if you are reading from the book, it's very easy to know. It is very easy to know. And there are some that some people not do is that you even hear them flipping the book. Like it's enough that we can hear that you're reading from a book, but yeah, we're even hearing you flip the book. So that's actually not, I mean, of course you can put our points and yeah, of course, I mean, have our points down, but then the way we communicate these things actually tells a whole lot. The way we structure these things and all of that, it is very. There are some presentations that I enjoy. I'm like, oh my goodness, I enjoy, and you'll be so happy. Like the way people have improved and all of that. And I mean, that's just our joy, like I said, for everybody to improve, even in the way they research, even the way they present. Also, yeah, no verbatim presentation. We don't want, because if you just, like I said, it's not interesting. You can just go on Nairametrics too, but then we want analysis, right? We don't just want you to just read headlines for us. Do you understand? So, okay, I think, I don't know. Yeah, I think I've been able to. And yes, please. In our presentation, let's also try to be in depth, right? Because even at the end of every presentation, people might have questions for you, right? People might have questions for you. And even if you might not know the full, I mean, there are sometimes that even myself, I might not know the full reason But then I have people that might back me up. If it's not Relayo, it's Peter, or if it's John, or somebody that will just back. I mean, that's just to show that nobody's an island of knowledge, right? So that's why it's, I mean, let's just try to do our own due diligence and also just be in depth. If a time come when you get asked a question and you might not know, I'll be like, okay, I'm not really, but I'll do my research and I'll get back to you on the group. I mean, just then after that, somebody might not be like, oh, I have an idea on why this happened or something like that. But it's totally unethical to ghost, especially when you did a presentation. Now it's time for questions and you're ghosting. That's actually rude and it's not right. Yeah. So yeah, I think I've been able to touch on those things. I don't know if you have any questions for me regarding, but I just quickly want to show, I'll be sharing my screen now to just show us a report, a company's report. Because if you look at the research schedule, we are seeing so many links, right? Apart from those sites, you have the site where we can get information. And honestly, we've done this. This is actually so easy for us. Because if you know you're on NGX, you already have the sites by those color codes. So it's very easy. It's very, like, it's even easy because you know this is where you're going to. So your goal is just for you to, I mean, make yourself comfortable in that site and just try to make your findings, try to research. Even if it's not clear, you can copy all that is not clear for you. You can paste on ChatGPT, tell it to break it down for you, to break it down for you. And just like, all they're already just for better understanding, right? So you made it easier for you. You have different sites attached to these color codes, right? And also look at the links down. There are different companies' reports, even attached. Okay, let me share my screen now. I'll be opening Trust Bank on. I like Trust Bank because I mean those people do daily on LinkedIn. If you click on the link, it take you to LinkedIn. So they do a daily report. And they just do a brief overview on all these segments, right? So I mean, these companies, you can just make yourself every day. You can follow them. So you just be seeing these things as they drop. Click on notification, be seeing these things. Also, I would encourage us to subscribe to newsletters, right? Because there are sometimes that you might not want to go, but if you have newsletters, they'll bring this thing to your mail. You'll be notified of all of this. So let me share my screen now. Exactly. TIS also has daily published reports. And John, I know John always send the link or any other person to the group chats. Most times I won't see the engagement and I'm like, and we're how many in TIS? Either we're not on LinkedIn or what? Sometimes I'm just like what exactly is the issue? Because these are things that they brought it to our footstep, our doorstep rather. They brought it to us, right? It's something that we should just, I mean, if it's the idea of reading, let's inculcate the habit of reading because you can't be spoon fed. You can't be spoon fed, right? So let's just try to, I mean, even beyond the engagement, let's try to read through. I mean, this is daily, every day. Research calls are not every day, but these things come in every day for our own benefits, right? Okay, so let me share my screen. All right, so this is Trust Bank. If you just follow the link from the research schedule, you would see this link. Where is it? This Trust Bank link. You can see it's even a LinkedIn link. So it's taken to LinkedIn where they post daily reports. So this is just showing us, I mean, they touch on money market, T-bills, FGM bond, Euro bond, Forex, equity market, top 10 performing stocks. Oh, I mentioned that some of this, even NGX, they do more than, but yeah, our top gainer and loser should be in the top 5. And just, I mean, money markets, look at system liquidity that I touched on. There are so many of those things that you just have to copy. Just copy like this, paste into activity, tell it to explain to you and to actually do justice to it. So you can see that they have an outlook. You can see they have an outlook, right? Fixed income, treasury bills, bullish. Okay, look at the Nigeria Treasury bill market traded on a bullish note as investors awaited the MPC decision. This was before the MPC made their decision, right? So it's just, I mean, let's just get ourselves accustomed to all these reports. This on the FGM bond. You know, I explain what FGM bond is. Okay, the bond market traded calmly as investors awaited the MPC's final policy decision of the year. And we know that they already made their decision, right? Okay, of the year. Okay, I think they still have one more meeting. I'm not so sure. So Eurobond, now I say Eurobond is always not denominated in Naira. It's always in the currency outside of Naira. So of course there's an outlook. Okay, forex markets, you don't really. Okay, look at the crude oil price. You know, I always say you see Brent, you'll be seeing Brent, you'll be seeing a lot of things, right? And even this commodity, if you look at Naira movements, Naira appreciated by so and so in the official markets. Of course, this is something we can find anywhere. So you have to tell us why. Why do you think they appreciated, right? Okay, we have our equity market. They will do the proper breakdown, morning session, afternoon session, closing session. And this is what they do daily. They bring this report out daily. So you can just, I know that if it's something that we do every day, before we know it, all these terms will become like normal languages to us, right? I think it was at our IB meeting. You explain what bullish and bearish mean. You'll be seeing a lot of bullish, bearish. Bullish is when, okay, yeah, it is rising, it is doing well, it is soaring, right? So this just the link to even our daily report is even online. Is on them. The link is already in the chat box. So you can just click just one click to take you there. And this is also a daily something, right? It's also daily. So let's just, and it's not even something long. Well, actually, this one is long. I've been scrolling since. What we publish is not even long. Just the key things that you should know and get yourself familiar with. So now, just one last thing before I go. Normally, of course, where we get our information from, it's always on news, right? News updates. Listen to Nairametrics. This is my go-to for any Nigerian business, finance news. Of course, there I see a lot of sites, but then everybody has different preference, right? So you can see an headline, and of course it tells us what, but then you now come into the research call to come and read, because somebody might come now and it's your turn. You want to talk on local macro, right? You now come and read NPR at 27%. Analysts want CBN's tight stance with slow economic growth. No, now. From this, right? From this, there's a way you can structure it. That's why I always say that those that don't prepare well, it is very evident. It shows that these people did not prepare well. Because if it's something that you've read, you've gone through, it's different from when you are just maybe you are just seeing that you're on the research schedule. You're not trying to just look for something, not come and start reading to us. But that's not right. From this headline now, who can structure it better? Like, let's say you have to present on local macro, right? And what you want to talk on is this NPR rates. So how do you think, I just need like somebody, or maybe two people, how do you think you can say it? Or you can just, say it. That will sound, this is not newscast. You're trying to, it's a research something. So how do you think you can say it that will sound good? Yeah, please don't let me call names. So like I said, it's not research call. It's just for us to try and let's see. All right, Bello.
So based on this, analysts predicted that based on the new 27%, analysts predicted that this CBN tight stance will slow down the economic growth.
All right, thank you, Malik. Thank you for trying. We all don't have to wait for maybe name calling or anything. So I mean, this is about the MPR. We can just be like, okay, I don't know if you've all seen, but the MPC, that's the committee, have made their decision. Okay, whose hand is up? I'm coming. All right, Adam. Adam, was that a mistake? Okay, I think so. So you can just be like, oh, I don't know if we
Yes,
all have
no,
seen.
it was. So I can, hello. So for me, I
Yes, I
can
can
say
hear you.
that the concluded MPC meeting that was just concluded a few days ago. So the analysts predicted that for the CBN to still hold the MPR at 27%, it might slow down the economic growth of the country. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Adam. Who's hand is raised up again? Oh, I think that's that. Thank you guys for trying. I mean, so right, you don't just have to read word for word. You can just be like, I don't know how many of us have seen, but the MPC have made their decision, and the MPR is now at 27%. And this new development is something that people feel will slow down economic growth. Just make it something that people can, I mean, people can follow through, right? This is a long read. The CBN decision to maintain. Yeah, so you just don't have to, because I think there are some that will be like, they have three news for us. News one, they read the headline. News two, they read the headline. News three, they read the headline. It's not supposed to be like that. Just make it something that, because if we realize that you're just coming to read news for us, people might just switch off. Like, they just be like, just switch off, right? So let's just try to, I mean, let's try to, because if you read through, at least you should be able to summarize. And I get that sometimes, especially those that might be taking global macro, there might be so many information, right? You're dealing with three countries, and those countries might have a lot that happened. But then, this is just trying to build your skill even in summarizing information, right? Even in every article, not everything is relevant. Well, relevant in quotes, right? So we just have to try to filter out, I mean, what we think is useful for us, and just, because even as I'm reading here, there are some things that if I'm to present on this, I'm not going to say, right? So that's just to help us. Now let me see if I can. Okay, this was the weekly report I was talking about for NGX. I mean, they'll tell us equity, they'll give a good breakdown. This is the different look at bonds. And I said bonds are also traded on the NGX, yeah, to an extent. So, and yeah, these are all the indexes, ASI, 30 index, a lot. So just make ourselves familiar with all the sites, top 10 gainers, top 10 decliners. And yeah, I remember that, I don't know, it was on Monday. Yeah, Sierra stopped on these ASO savings that were suspended. I don't know how many of us were on the call, but yeah, it's also in here, right? So that's just to, I mean, for global news, I mean, we have routers, we have investing.com. Even from our site, you'd have been seeing, we have investing.com, we have CNBC, we have trading economics, we have ProShare, we have a whole lot, literally. And this is something, there are some of even these sites that we might never have to really stress. If we go on Reuters now, you see these currency pairs. They would have given us the figures. So what we are just doing is for us to find out why. Why has it increased? Why has it declined? What do we think is going to happen in the coming period, in the coming days, in the coming months, right? So that's just to let us know. Let me see if I can click on any. Okay, let me check if, oh, I guess okay, let me just, investing.com. Even on Yahoo Finance, like you see all those stocks, you see all of them. So that's just to, I mean, these things are online. These things are online just for us. Look at the indices I talked about, right? all these things are online just for us to get so much comfortable with it. Like Dow Jones, we are seeing that it's increased by 0.7%. We are seeing all these things, right? Just for us to get our hands on these things. Let's just be, I mean, curious, right? I think curious is the word because and look at our commodities. They are giving us the percent. Okay, gold increased. So your one is just find out why did gold increase, right? Look at our commodities: soybeans, wheat, natural gas, silver. You understand? So our ETFs, everything, like everything is not even just investing those coins. You check Yahoo Finance now, you see all this thing, right? So yeah. Okay, so I think that is just that. Okay, I'm coming. Let me see if I can get any news. Okay, look at this headline now. US stocks rise as risk appetite is boosted by Fed rate cut optimism. Even if you are presenting on maybe this is a reason why a particular stock rose, right? Maybe this is a driver. We are not just going to read this like this, right? You just to tell us, I mean, there are so many ways. So many, even with MTN we're looking at, there are so many things. Even if, let's say, you don't really see why a stock increase, maybe on this, you can just even Google that. Why do you think, why did so stock rise? You might see a lot of sites, maybe something that you would have missed naturally. But you know, Google will bring out everything for you. So this is just that we should just be curious. Let's be inquisitive, right? Because it's not everything that will be spoon-fed with. So let's just try to, I mean, sharpen our curiosity, bring our A game, right? Because even all this cumulatively, it affects you. Probably you're in an interview or something. It's a cumulative thing. So right, I think I've come to the end. Okay, the attendance link is in the chat box, guys. So ensure that you feel it. So you click on the link. So attendance link is there. Okay, so I've come to the end. I don't know if I have any questions or if anybody have any questions for me. And just unmute or raise your hand. Okay, I guess there are no questions. So I need one person or two people to unmute and just maybe their key takeaway from this session. Something that is going to stick with them or something that they're going to learn or they're going to apply going forward. So yeah, two people, please. Nobody's unmuting or nobody's raising their hands. I don't want to call names, guys. So let's just unmute and speak. Okay, I think I'll just have to call names. Onje, sorry, Abigail, please, what's your key takeaway from this session?
Good evening, ma.
Good evening, I can hear you.
All right. So actually, my take home is, to join the research for more and also like research on companies, daily reports to also know more about what is going on in the society.
All right. Okay. Again, the attendance link is in the chat box. So yes, please, let's make use of it. Yeah, Bello.
All right. Thank you so much for the session once again. So my key takeaway about this session is on how to restructure the headlines of the news. So on how you make it presentable. That will not make it look like you are reading directly from the book. So make it that you really understand what you read.
All right, thank you very much, Bello. Thank you guys for listening. Over to you, President.
All right, thank you very much, Joy. I believe Joy deserves a round of applause. That was a very wonderful one. Thank you so much for giving us that breakdown. I'm sure that a lot of us on this calls are now ready to present to us and give us a wonderful analysis of whatever story, whatever sector you're covering. And that's, of course, one thing that we're trying to achieve with these sessions. Thank you so much, Joy. And that's really appreciated. I think I just wanted to say something as to the heading or the names that Joy showed us earlier. So I just wanted to say that when we see, or maybe when you want to analyze a news, basically, there are some things I personally do, and that might actually be helpful for one or two people on this call. And first is to look for an underlying story, what has happened in the past as to look. So yeah, this is the 300 and I think that's like the 303 meeting that MPC committee are going to be having. And can just look at briefly what had happened in the past 2 or 3 meetings, or in the past 2 meetings, the held rate or the court rate or something. And then right now, this is what they are doing. Right, and that's one way to look at things. You might want to look at the past for a minute, then look at what is going on currently and whatever it is that surrounds that present reality, and then you are going to make a forecast into the future. So this is what we expect that, of course, will be happening in the next meeting, or what we see them doing next. And that's one thing that analysts do. If you look at most of these analyses, what they do basically is to look at what has happened in the past, what's currently happening, and what we think would happen in the future. And I believe that's a profound way to look at things, especially when it comes to research. And we want to believe that from now, we're going to have a very solid presentation from our guys. And of course, we are going to have one that will be very much engaging. Another thing I think I want to talk about is how that, if you look at our socials, I think it's one thing that is really concerning, how that we have over 150 members, and on our post, we have less than 20 likes or even reposts. And that's really so concerning. I think I mentioned something during our first meeting this session, that every one of us, our input matters. And this is one way we can actually push the society for that. Your one like could help other people on your connection list see whatever it is that you are liking or reposting from the society. Mercy, you want to say something? I think your hand is raised. Okay, I guess that's a mistake. All right. So please, anytime you see or you come across the societies and do whatever post that is there, of course, it is not just for yourself, but for every other person on your list or your connection list. So do well to repost those, outlooks and updates from the market division and even from the PR. I believe that this is one thing that we can do to allow potential investors and even firms to see us and be like, oh, I think we want to partner with these people. So please do your part of the job. Do your part of the job. Thank you so much for joining in. I think one or two things before we go ahead that I think is very much important to share, and that would be that from next week, and that's from the 1st of December, our research call will now be on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Our research call will be on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Before now, we have our research calls on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And, we've seen over time how that people tend to rush home from the meeting on Wednesday to attend research calls, and that might be a lot of stress, right? So just to ensure that we do not have stressed analysts. Or I mean, if you can agree with me that when you are so stressed, man, even be listening to whatever it is that's been discussed on the research call. So that's why we have been able to make that adjustment to ensure that we have our people not just attend these calls, but of course pay rapt attention. So on Monday we are going to be having the research call, on Tuesday and on Thursday we are going to be having our research calls. Then on Wednesday, of course, coming for meetings, and we are expected to be present. Thank God we have been able to review together our policy documents, and I know that whatever is in that document, binds us. So I mean, if you are not going to be coming for a meeting and you're absent for 3 times, then there can be some sort of action from the HR division. And then on Fridays, we are going to be having our market outlook. So I know this is not like, maybe for some of us are just in society, you've not heard about that, but it's actually a very exciting moment where we have a deeper analysis of the market, of what's going on in various sectors. I mean, of course, we have research calls, but this outlook is very much detailed. You get to like see analysis of things, how it's going on and how it's like playing out in the market. But this time around, we are doing something very exciting, and that is by us adding or incorporating other divisions into this initiative. And what that means is that by Friday you might be having the IB division analyzing or telling us what's going on in their sphere of things in finance. So what's the deal that is very much new in the market, and what we need to know about those deals. And then markets will also be doing their thing, walking us through a very deep dive of what's going on in the global markets. One thing that we are trying to do is so that, I mean, at the end of these sessions, at the end of this whole thing, we'll be able to really understand how what is going on in the market really affects whatever division you are currently have, right? I mean, if you are doing international or probably a global internship, you should most likely see them asking you what's currently going on in the global market and how does that affect the division that you're applying to. And this is one thing that we are trying to get you to answer with this session. So please do well to join in. And trust me, it's going to be an exciting one. So yeah, I think David wants to say something. You can speak.
Yeah, so good evening, everyone. Please, if you don't feel the attendance, we kindly do so now. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So, like you said, please do well to fill the attendance form and don't send it to your friend. This is one of those things that would make you, be an ethical member. Okay, I think some people are saying the links are not working. I checked that now and it just opened up my system. So maybe it might be your network, but yeah, just opened again. So I don't know what. David, should they reach out to you to address that? What was the plan?
The link is working just fine. It's probably their network. Some people have already